Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the first leg of the Twin Checkered Challenge here in the Stock Car Championship Series. First of 4 races worth of double points. And this will be 500 miles rather than 400 at the Brickyard. A bit of an endurance race, so to speak. See how these Cup cars can handle a full distance around this track. Let's jump over here with Jeff Gordon here. One of the first cars on track, putting in his first hot lap. Jeff Gordon currently 6th in points, about. See that 46 behind Jimmie Johnson, his teammate, who's currently leading. He's got an 8-point lead over Tony Stewart as we head into Tony Stewart's backyard. And again, double points here today. We got 4 times this season, including Daytona Road Course, Le Mans, and then the final race of the year. And that race is still pending. We haven't really decided if we're going to do Auto Club or Homestead, but one or the other will be the finale. See Gordon getting around the high side there of Neil Bonnet. Pressure tires are allowing that pass to happen. This is our practice session though, just getting warmed up before qualifying in the race. Just about 10 minutes left in this warm-up session, and then 4 laps qualifying, followed by 5 laps. As the cars make their way here into turn 1. So here at the turn 1 key, as cars make their way through. There is good racing to be had at this track. We have seen it in our practice race. It will get spread out as the run goes, but lap traffic does come into play, and these pit stops are super important. Jeff Gordon pretty far down the running order at the moment. Just been having to deal with some lap traffic and slowing up his lap time. Let's see here, he's now around Kurt Busch. 6th or his 4th lap. So up to our quickest overall here after 5 minutes in practice, for 6.5 actually. It's going to be the number 28 Cale Yarbrough Hardy's machine. He's up on Dale Earnhardt Sr. by just under a 10th of a second. Earnhardt Sr. was dominant in that practice race. Most dominant we've seen in any race, so something to keep an eye on. Qualifying will be massively important. And then will we see a repeat performance where the leader... Apologize for the connection issue there, a bit of a drop, but those bugs out of the way here in a warm-up. Cale Yarbrough continues to be quickest overall. Jimmie Johnson's 3rd fastest. That's your current points leader. Let's see if we can find where he's on track with Matt Kenseth, who's having a great season actually. In 5th in points. Very quietly, just minding his own business all season. He is the highest running car in the championship without a win. So he is due, and it's just a matter of time, I think, before that happens. After that, you have to go all the way back through 10 in the points, so 11 would be the next car that has not won a race. So we've not had a repeat winner yet this season, but that being Bobby Allison. Darrell Waltrip as well has not won. He's 12th. Jimmie Johnson closing in on his teammate up ahead. That is Jeff Gordon. See Gordon back out yet? No, he's still on his first run. Seeing how those tires are going to work throughout the race. See, Jimmie has a ton of speed, though, pulling away from Atkinson. There's no slouch. Maybe only 15th quick, but I'm sure he's a top 10 car in this race. Early morning hours here at Indy. 8 o'clock for this warm-up session. Will be at 9 a.m. for our qualifying and 10 a.m. for the start of this race. Take a look at the weather. 65 degrees, 69 track temp. Nice. 5-mile-an-hour breeze. And pretty humid out there, so not sure what that effect has on these cup cars, but when you see extremes of that nature, you gotta wonder. I imagine it would slow the cars down as there'd be more air resistance, potentially handle better, but passing might be more difficult. Just a lowly educated guess. I'm sure there's some science to it, though, and that's exactly what effect that has. Let's jump back to Cale Yarborough. Quickest overall crossing the yard of bricks. On a full run here at the moment, just over 10 minutes, coming up on 4 minutes in practice. 4 laps of qualifying. 500 miles here taking place at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Great shot into turn 3. Perry Labonte, 19th overall, running right behind Cale Yarborough. You see Terry looking low. You can try to make a pass on the inside. If you got a slower car, you could probably make it happen. But the high line's going to be able to hold off that run every time, it seems. Look at that run that Terry's got here. Terry is on fresh tires, so he is quicker. Let's head on board with the Kellogg's machine. To the roof. A big lift there. On the short shoot into turn 4, so you get a run down the front stretch. See Cale getting real sideways, so big momentum here for Terry Labonte. Getting alongside at least. Got a bit of a lift. Sunrise are looking impressive there out over downtown Indianapolis. Under 2 minutes to go in warm-up. Closing in on Harry Gant here up ahead. This battle. And behind them, Davey Allison's joining in as well. So to the inside, alongside Cale. He's holding tight. Cale, the tires wearing off. Can he keep the run? That's what we're talking about. We may see this all day. Be frustrating for the quicker car. Both the 28 cars side by side entering turn 2. Davey's gonna clear. He's got a bit fresher tires than Von Valley. So we'll make it work. So we are ending our session category for Dale Earnhardt Sr. Jimmie Johnson. That's your top 3. We'll advance the session. So we're going to have to wait a full lap to get around for qualifying. And we'll go ahead and step over to Cale Yarborough. Fastest again overall in that warm-up session. Bit more sun on the track here. Again, 9 o'clock for qualifying. If anybody does go quicker each lap here in the session, we will jump over to their current lap time. But Cale Yarborough, I imagine, will be towards the top of that list. Should be a top 10 for this Hardee's car. The Dodge Charger. Running as a teammate to Bobby Allison this season, the best enemies, they're called. Currently third in the team standings, behind Gibbs 2020 and Hendrick 2000. Here comes the first lap for Cale Yarborough into turn 1. It's a good run through 1 and 2. I think the second lap is probably going to be the quickest for most. We may see someone surprise on the third. The fourth lap would be shocking if people went much quicker, but you never know. Off of 3 and now into 4. Comes Cale, about to complete his first lap. Quickest in practice. Where does he fall in lap 1? Across the line. Yard of Bricks, 6th place currently. As your fastest provisionally is points leader Jimmie Johnson over Richard Petty, Tony Stewart, Dale Sr., that's your top 4. Down the backstretch, Lowe's Chevrolet looking quick. Putting those high revs into 3. This is going to be the money lap for a lot of drivers. Bit of a lift late on exit could hurt his straightaway speed here. Jimmie Johnson down the front stretch, about to cross the yard of bricks again. Now halfway through the session, who goes quickest? Looks like Tony Stewart right now going to be at the top. Second in points. These guys are duking it out at the front. 53.129, currently over a 53.152 of Darrell Waltrip. Alan Kulwicki with a gray lap here, up to third. Tony Stewart looking to defend his home track. Will they go quicker this time by Jimmie Johnson fell from first to 7. Across the line. I don't see Tony Stewart did not improve, but Cale Yarbrough was able to jump up to 4th and Logano up to 3rd. Nice turn there for the Home Depot. It is a Chevrolet. I know Bobby Labonte running the Toyota Camry. Final corner of this qualifying session for all of our drivers. Got some still making their way through turn 4. But here comes Stewart. Does anybody go quicker? Top 4 separated by less than a 10th. And I don't see anybody improving on those lap times. So that's how we will run in today's race. Off the front row, Tony Stewart and Darrell Waltrip. What a run for him. I haven't mentioned one of the top drivers in the series without a win this season. Looking to change that here today. He is 12th in points. Tony Stewart coming in 2nd, looking to maximize all the points he can get. Again, double points here in the Twin Checkered Challenge. Joey Logano, Cale Yarbrough going to fill out the 2nd row. And you got David Pearson and Alan Kulwicki. Not common to see them this high up. Bobby Allison and Dale Earnhardt Sr. That's going to be top 8. Then Larson and Kurt Busch will round out the top 10. Jimmie Johnson, Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, these guys pretty far back. Richard Petty. A lot of cars going to have some work to do. Go ahead and jump into our race session now. What a lap by Tony Stewart. Again, hometown hero in Indianapolis. Huge if he could get the win here today. What we'll do, go through the field as we do before every race, see where your favorite driver is lined up. There is your front row. Home Depot, Western Auto, side by side. The orange really popping here on the front row. Then you got Logano and Cale Yarbrough. Row 2. David Pearson needing to get his graphics updated on the front end. Alongside Alan Kulwicki with his best start of the season. Bobby Allison, Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt very fast in our practice race. Keep an eye on him. I think rows really to keep an eye on right here, Kyle Busch. And then right behind him, teammates Gordon and Jimmie Johnson. These guys are going to be roaring to the front. As will back here, Kenseth, Richard Petty. No, they'll be quick. Good start for Bobby Labonte, Kevin Harvick as well as we pass over the good wrench car. Miller Lite and Coors about halfway through the field. Wallace has had quite the unfortunate luck this season. And you got Carl Edwards very high up in the running order. Good to see that as he has been towards the back more races than not. Got one of our winners here in the purple violet defense, number 6, Brad Keselowski. Let's fill out the end of the field. See Michael Waltrip, Ricky Rudd, Ken Schrader in the other Budweiser car. And that's Kyle Petty alongside Harry Gant, Jeff Burton, and on the final row, we got Bubba Wallace and shotgun on the field, Ernie Irvin. See if these guys can make the most of their day and get to the front. We'll go ahead and get underway though. Check in. Weather showing 68 degrees now, track temperature up to 75, so not much of a change. Accelerates off. A cloud of smoke here. So drifts over the pit wall. Porsche pace car leads the field for one lap and will get the green flag. Get 500 miles here at Indianapolis, so buckle up, strap in, it's going to be a long one. Endurance is the key at this race. Cautions were not much of a concern when we did our practice race, so I don't imagine we'll see too much along those lines. Tony Stewart again on pole. He was actually pole sitter at Virginia International Raceway. So first time for an oval for the 20 car. Around turn 4, pace car will be pulling off the speedway. And here the driver is now shifting down to lower gear to get the acceleration on the green flag. Pace car is off and down pit lane. Stewart grabs gear. Here we go, underway at Indianapolis in the Stock Car Championship Series. Darrell Waltrip trying to hold second over Logano on the start. Looks like he'll be able to, as again he'll have that high side momentum. You know how important that is. Saw it during practice. Logano needs to get up there as soon as he can, otherwise he's going to lose a ton of spots. Quickly pulling away a bit is going to be Tony Stewart. Go back a bit and see Darrell Waltrip. Brings the field into turn 3. Side by side, holding their lines. I don't see any incidents here through the field. Wow, the bonnet getting a little high. Let's make a clean line. Kelly was fastest in practice, so he's got a car. In the back with Dale Jarrett and Michael Waltrip. Seems like a cloud storm. Car's mid-pack, making some contact. Shot of this field making their way down the back straightaway. So Tony Stewart continues to pull away ever so slightly. Getting our first lap now at speed books. See if we can jump over to points leader real quick. Jimmie Johnson is up to 9. Good start. You see Jeff Gordon iron down a bit, but Dale Sears coming up. There's 3 wide. Ricky's falling way back from his starting position. Gordon and Earnhardt. These guys both trying to get to the front, but pulling each other up at the same time. That was Kurt Busch and Matt Kenseth in the wall. They seem to be okay, but losing a bit of ground at the same time. But it's on the high side. Let's get back to the front. Check in with our leader. There's Tony Stewart crossing the brakes. 0.6 the gap back to Cale Yarborough. Nice shot here from the grandstands in turn 1. His quickest lap, 53.335, only to be bettered by second place, Cale Yarborough, 53.309. So by just about a tenth of a second, Cale Yarborough trying to close the gap on our leader. And you go back about a second, maybe just under that, to Darrell Waltrip and the other number 17, David Pearson. His best run of the season so far. Bobby Allison got a line of cars behind him, but not much pressure to this point. Kyle Larson and Mark Martin. Then you go back to what really starts to eat up. Got Jimmie Johnson, Joey Logano. Logano falling back. Richard Petty, he's going to the inside now on Logano. Here in turn 2. I don't know if that's going to work. In that low line, just not very friendly, but at least Petty able to get back up in front of Kevin Harvick, not lose any more ground. Well, Kawicki looking maybe to get around Harvick. Quite a bit of passing further back in the field here. These people trying to make moves and then, if anything, just losing positions, not passing. Petty again looking low, but Harvick gets up with the draft alongside. Now Logano gonna step away a bit from Richard Petty. You see now clearing Harvick. So a pretty good gap up front. Almost a second out for Tony Stewart. But Darrell Waltrip seems to be closing in on Cale Yarborough. If it gets any closer, make sure to jump over and check in on that for you. Let's go on board with Jeff Gordon for a moment. See what it's like with the 24 machine. Front stretch at Indy, nothing like it. To the outside of Harvick. Harvick maybe has a little outside damage. Got him to the wall, perhaps. I can't really tell. Oh, Harvick gets sideways. That's going to give Gordon the position. Fuel runs are uncertain at the moment. I'm not sure exactly how long that may take. 20 laps maybe. So Gordon clear of another cars. I'll get back in touch potentially with Richard Petty. Go ahead and get back to the front with Tony Stewart. He's now into turn 1. There's the field making their way by. Pretty tight for the last 6-7 spots there. Nobody wants to be last at this moment. Coming up, about to start lap 10 of 200. Been an exciting start to this race. Maybe more than some anticipated. Early on, and we do have a long way to go, so anything can happen, and strategy is yet to play out. We know Cale Yarborough's quick. He could be biding his time here early on. We go a little further back. I just want to show you. Jimmie Johnson's up to 7. That's crazy. In 10 laps, where did he start? 13. That is up 6 spots. Richard Petty himself, he's up 7, as is Rusty Wallace. It's incredible. It's a lot of spots this early in the race. On a track that really doesn't warrant too much passing. So had just an incredible start on that outside line. Gaps holding pretty steady out the front, so we stay with our points leader, Jimmie Johnson. He leads the leader of this race by 8 points currently. Again, this is double points race though, so at this moment we would have a new points leader. Especially considering Tony Stewart has led the most laps, that's points. Started on pole. Is really looking to, like I said, maximize all the points here. Only thing he's not currently in possession of is fastest lap, which is by Cale Yarborough by only .024. I don't know that Stewart will be able to improve on that though, as this track will just get hotter as the day continues on. We had a 10 o'clock start time. Martin giving Jimmie Johnson quite a bit of trouble here, all over the rear bumper. Jimmie just cannot seem to get away. Martin has proven his worth this season, though. He's not any slouch, or he's here for the long haul. Currently 13th in points. Had a bad run last week, but if it wasn't for that, he'd still be up there in the top 10 easily. Then you got Logano, who's here in 7th in points. Never count that 22 out. Larson closing up on Bobby Allison. This is heating up for 2nd through 5th. Or 6th, I should say. 3rd through 6th. Cale Yarborough's up ahead. Leader Tony Stewart now really starting to distance himself from the field. Martin alongside Jimmie again, almost making that pass work. Sorry for the camera work there, but looks like Mark Martin's going to make this pass on Jimmie. Logano trying to follow, at least give Martin enough help to make it through. And indeed he does. Great pass from Mark Martin. Richard Petty, Jeff Gordon now closing right up on these 3 cars. And Jimmie Johnson's in a ton of trouble now. So Richard Petty's going to go to his outside. Nope, can't make it stick. So Gordon gets in there, but Petty will have the momentum down the straightaway as well as the draft. You see here, Kyle Larson has gotten around Bobby Allison. The car's starting to slide around a bit here. We're getting maybe towards the end of this run. I think around lap 20 is what we're looking at. Real close racing. Jimmie trying to get back on Martin into turn 3. Bit of a pack race developing for some of these groups later on in the run. Martin back around Jimmie Johnson. Keeping that action. But Jimmie really holding off the fight behind him. He's been out here for the top 10. It's really exciting to watch. Not losing some spots. As you're saying there. Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Kyle Busch, they're in the background, closing up a little bit on this battle. Kyle Larson now around David Pearson, moving into 4th. Potential looking at the top 3 if he can get by Waltrip. Very quick car here. Gap closing a bit between 1st and 2nd. Larson looking really good at the end of this run. He is closing up quickly on Waltrip. Larson turning to the high side. He's going to get there. Make this pass on DW. Move the 5 car into 3rd. What a run. Pearson into the follow into turn 3. If he can clear Waltrip, he does. Stick. Now Darrell, bad lap there for the AC Delco. Now you got a battle for the lead, closing a little bit before we get to pit stops. Larson currently 2 seconds back, 2.5 from the lead. See if that comes down at all before we get to our first set of green flag stops. I don't imagine we'll have any caution here. This battle continues to rage on me now. Martin trying to lead it, but now he's starting to into Gordon. There's a spot to the number 3 here off the turn. That puts Earnhardt up into 10th place. Bit of a battle down the front straightaway. Comes Waltrip and Pearson. Bobby Allison is trying to figure out which is the best lane to go. This track, I will always pick the high side. On lap 20. continues his march to the top two. He's able to knock about 2/10 off at that last lap. And it seems Tony Stewart's actually slowing down a little at this run. Last lap 55.0s for all of the top three. $180 laps to go here at Indianapolis. Incredible to watch so far. You see the guy is shifting up the backstretch now. Exhaust shooting out off of turn 2. These Cup cars are struggling right now. About half a lap separates the whole field. See 40th place currently entering turn 3 as Ken Schrader. Stewart's managing this gap to Cale Yarborough pretty well. Although it's closing in, I don't know that Cale's quick enough to make the pass. But one thing we're noticing early on, we had Darrell Waltrip, Tony Stewart on the front row. Pit stops right now happening. These orange cars seem to be loving the limelight at Indy. Top 2 in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. First car staying out is going to be Jeff Gordon. So we got a few staying out. Bill Elliott, Hamlin, Harvick. Let's take a look here. Take a look at the race off pit lane. Got a few cars stacking up there. Looks like Mark Martin, Bobby Allison, David Pearson. Oh no, it was Darrell Waltrip, not Mark Martin. Yeah, everybody in their box. Cale's first away, but Stewart's going to make it on pit lane first. Just barely, actually. We got Larson third. Here comes Mark Martin and Bobby Allison side by side. Petty Johnson. Let's see Wallace gets around Waltrip. Oh, not a good stop. And now the rest of the field. Making their way down. So jump back to Tony Stewart, Cale Yarborough. Making their way into turn 3. They got a healthy gap over Larson. Oh, there's an incident on pit lane. Caught the tail end of it at the back of the pack. It seemed to be Michael Waltrip involved. Here we are. I don't imagine it'll be very close. Gordon, though, where he slots out, will be interesting. Goes Kyle Larson. Got Mark Martin, Bobby Allison. They're side by side. I don't know if this is going to be very helpful for them trying to get by Gordon, but they are able to do so. Gordon will get back out on track, it looks like, in 7. Jimmie Johnson in 8. So got quite a few close battles here at the front. Jeff Burton looks like he had damage still coming down pit lane. He might have been involved in that incident that we saw. So one car a lap down, that is Jeff Burton. Here's the battle for the lead. First and second separated by about a car length. And you got Kyle Larson driving around here all by himself. Go back further in this battle for about fifth. Really just going to continue on, I think, throughout the day. All those cars pretty equal in pace. Bill Elliott having a great run here in 11. Logano and Dale Sr. trying to make their way back up after those pit stops. They did not work out to their favor at all. Kyle Busch, he's falling back as well. Kowicki's back here. Yeah, so that's your top 20 or so cars. Kind of shuffle through them pretty quick, I know, but battle of the lead rages on here. Lap 26. "23 laps on pit stops." Cale Yarbrough coming fourth at points, and last week's winner here at Indianapolis on the road course. He's going for the lead here. Almost got it. Stewart, though, able to hold his line. I thought Cale had it. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson is closing on this quickly. Look at that. Let's see here. 54.3. So, maybe not too much that, but visually you can see it. He's in the shot more and more. Cale Yarbrough now regrouping a bit. Bobby Allison up to fourth and trying to break free of that battle with Jeff Gordon, Jimmie Johnson. And again, I apologize for any connection issue there, but seeing that Cale Yarbrough just riding in Stewart's draft here, maybe just trying to save fuel. Could extend that current fuel run by a lap if he continues this current pace. Larson not gaining as much as he was at the beginning of this run. But lap traffic is not too far ahead. 10 seconds up ahead to Ernie Irvan. So here's Bobby Allison, as we were mentioning, trying to get away from that group of cars that he was with. Mark Martin has detached himself as well. So now the three-car battle of Richard Petty, Gordon, and Jimmie Johnson is what's all that remains. And these guys just trying to figure it out and track down the lead. if they're able to. I don't know. Maybe this is about where they are speed-wise, and they just are going to be battling each other here for about 6th on the rest of the day. 30 laps in the book here at Indy. Been a good one so far. The battle for the lead. Very excited. Check back. Let's go on board. Love the onboard shot here. See if Kale can get close enough. Maybe make a move on the next 2 or 3 laps. Behind Kale is Kyle Larson. Not close enough to get the draft. But he has a good view of his duo at the front. I wouldn't call it a battle as they're not really going at it. But just keeping tabs and seeing how they're running. I think that could potentially pay off for the 5 car. One car a lap down as Jeff Burton. Again, I think he had an issue on pit lane. Weren't able to quite catch it, but see if we can track it down post-race. Indy is kind of weird though. We might not be able to do any incident reports at the end, but fingers crossed it's working. Like it looks like Kale's closing maybe by a foot or 2 here and there, but then each time it gets close enough, it gets a little sideways on exit, and then the run just vanishes. We got cloud cover now taking over the speedway. Gap now opening up back to 3rd. And it looks like Gordon by Richard Petty. And even that battle's died down a bit. This guy's really starting to figure it out, and gaps are really getting wide here all through the field. Drifting off turn 4 in the background. On a lap 35 now. Next pit stops should be, I would say, around lap 45, give or take. About 10 laps off. This week, unfortunately, we'll not be able to bring it on broadcast, but I will keep our fans updated as we did have the IndyCar Legend Racing Series last season. That will continue in the background. Unfortunately, again, not able to broadcast it due to licensing issues with iRacing and IndyCar. But the IndyCar Legend Racing Series will kick off this week on Friday with 150 miles, or no, 200 miles from Sebring. Be an exciting race, and make sure to keep you updated on those point standings as we can, legally. Hopefully we can bring you those broadcasts again in the future. Very excited for that season though. 42 cars in the IndyCar Legend Racing Series. You can go back and watch a few of those races in our playlist. I believe they are archived there. Cup Series, very great in its own right. gaps all evening out as we mentioned. So Gordon's trying to close in a bit on Mark Martin. Jimmie Johnson continues to have Richard Petty. So 7th place. Okay, look here. Get an idea of the full gas on the field. Is everyone on the lead lap. Here comes the leaders one more time. So Tony Stewart leading everyone. All 37 laps so far. Well, 1 lap actually going to Jeff Gordon in the pit exchange. So all Indianapolis born drivers leading so far. Or Indy native. I'm not sure if Gordon, I can't remember, was born in Indianapolis. You see up ahead now entering turn 1, that was already Urban. They're only 5 seconds up on the lead now. The distance is slowly shrinking. You could say quickly, depending on who you are. We have gaps in the top section. Just the closest battle is going to be for 4th, I believe. Martin and Jeff Gordon. Gordon is now really just all over. For spoiler on Martin. Surprised he didn't get him inside there. The outside out of 3. Nope. Blocks it. 4. Martin, very defensive driving. He deserves to have the respect of that spot and not just going to roll over and give it up. 1/5 of the way through this race here. Let's see where we're at. 36 minutes in. There goes Jimmy to the outside of Richard Petty. He should be able to drive from the king here. Not 147. Gordon sideways off 4, doesn't have the momentum on the straightaway that he wanted. Gap up front remains about 0.4, so nothing doing at the front of the field currently. This looks like a good run for the 24. Let's see if he can close in here now. Pit stop's probably about 5 laps away for a lot of these teams. Good run this time for Gordon, right on the rear bumper. I think he'll have a good shot in turns 1 and 2, maybe to pull off that outside move. He's there. He's gone. Yep. Gordon got him. Close enough on exit. Looks like Richard Petty tried to make a move back here, but Gordon's going to hold this. I mean, Johnson's going to hold that spot. Now Gordon can move forward up in 5th and try to track down Bobby Allison, Kyle Larson, and in the top 2, Cale Yarborough and Tony Stewart. These guys have been unmatched today. Kyle Larson's been close at times, but he's not losing ground. I guess that's the important thing. But when will our leaders begin to head to pit lane? Stops should be a bit cleaner this time around, as you might see cars on different laps pitting this time rather than all together on the same lap, and also the car is just much more spread out, so you won't have checking up so-and-so's hitting their box and you get to the brakes. The distance now to Ernie Irvan, 2 seconds. These pit stops coming at a pretty good time lap traffic wise, because I think what they can do with Ernie Irvan is potentially even pass him under these pit stops. Oh, look at this. We got Larson and Bobby Allison hitting pit lane on lap 44. Bit unexpected, I believe. Larson and Bobby Allison, lap 44. How will that work out for them? Cale Yarborough is really closed in now on Tony Stewart. He's looking maybe making a pass here down the back straightaway. Both Stewart and Cale coming in this time by. Lap 45 for the leaders. Here comes Gordon. What's he gonna do? Staying out. Martin, Jimmy, Richard Petty, they're all in. Not many cars staying out here, so it's a risky call. Take a look again here. See how these stops play out for Stewart and Cale Yarborough. Cale's away. So's Tony. Nose to tail off pit exit. See if we can wait and find Larson. Oh, there's Bobby Allison. Almost contact with Dale Sr. Now there's Larson. So, back on track. Battling with Boyer, who is looking to pit still. A lot of cars on pit lane at the moment. beneath the camera there. Let's take a look where everyone's at. Tony Stewart recaptures the lead with Kelly Yarbrough second. See Larson, Bobby Allison, Jeff Gordon exiting the pits with Martin, Jimmie Johnson, and Richard Petty. Rusty Wallace clear of Bill Elliott and Denny Hamlin. Here comes David Pearson and Dale Sr. So let's go back here. Where's Gordon going to merge out with Martin? Martin has gotten by. Oh, that's rough for Gordon. Took him a while to get by the 6, so all that work undone just like that. Got the lap cars exiting pit lane as we speak. It's like Ernie Irvan, like we mentioned, he'll get past there. So will Bubba Wallace and Ken Schrader. You gotta go up a ways to Neil Bonnet. So Kyle Larson getting clear of the lap cars in turn 3. That's Bubba Wallace. Saw some tire smoke there, I thought, there in the short chute. Everyone seems to be going straight. No issues to speak of. Almost a quarter of the way through this race already. Gap from first to third, which is Kyle Larson, now 2.93 seconds now. So Larson did not gain any time on those pit stops. And the gap up front remains the same between Stewart and Yarbrough. This is similar to what we saw in the practice race, just the lead car staying out front. So can't say we're too surprised. Although, compared to how this season has played out so far, this is far different than any of the other races. Right now, 46 minutes in. Quarter of the way through the race, we're looking right at about 3 hours. Maybe a little more, so thank you for everyone tuning in and hanging in with us. I know it's a long race here in the Stock Car Championship Series, but one that we are proud to put on here in the Twin Checkered Challenge double points race. I'm not sure these races mean something, and the endurance part definitely, I think, proves who is the quickest on that given day. And I think Kelly Yarbrough might be the quickest, and he's going to need every one of these 200 laps to get by Tony Stewart. Two seconds up ahead to Ricky Rudd, and that is 35th place. Then Michael Waltrip and Clint Boyer, those are the next cars to go a lap down. First car a lap down, right behind Kelly Yarbrough, as Neil Bonnet, so he would get a lap back provided there be any caution. But, I mean, as we have mentioned, I just don't really see it happening here anytime soon. Let's go a little further back again. Bobby Allison trying to get by some lap traffic. And you got these 4 cars back together again. Mark Martin seems to be holding up Jeff Gordon a bit, which now has brought Jimmie Johnson and Richard Petty back into the mix. See what happens when they get to Ernie Irvan in just a moment. probably just move over. I don't think he'll put up too much of a fight. Times like this, I wish we had our dual camera. Let's see what's going on up front. Oh, Gordon's gonna lose a spot. Here it is, teammate. Trying to make the move. Oh, Jimmie totally sideways there. And again, this battle for 5th through 8th. Oh, Gordon holds off Richard on the inside. That is a heck of a move to swing up in front. And Jimmie Johnson is your points leader in the Stock Car Championship Series. Double points on the line. This is a very important pass, every single one of them. We know these Hendrick cars are quicker than Martin. They just can't, once they get around, they can't seem to stay in front of the number 6 car. Oh my gosh. Jimmie can't stay there and get around Irvin. I don't know how they're going to try to make the pass here in turn 3. They're stacking up. Jimmie's going to go high side. Richard Petty almost wrecks. Holy cow. Wrecks in effect. Johnson, though, clear. Richard Petty should be clear, and Gordon can follow Richard Petty down the front straightaway. Tense moments for much of the quicker cars in this race will go back to the lead. You see the gap has stayed the same, which is bumper to bumper for first and second. I don't know if Cale's doing this intentionally to save fuel or not, but he's just riding in the wake. On lap 55. Take a look at our ambient temperature out there, 69 degrees. Very nice out. 92 on the track. So really warmed up from practice and qualifying. Cale Yarborough maintaining that distance. So they approach a slower car, another orange car. See how impartial they are to the other orange cars on track. No teammates involved here. Ricky Rudd not having the season he was hoping for, but enjoying his run in this series no less. See Larson now on the back bumper of Neil Bonnet, just up top of the frame. If he can get by Neil Bonnet, then the gaps are really going to close up front. Oh, Rudd with a block. It's going to open the door for Yarborough, but he doesn't make it work. Meanwhile, Larson is getting around the outside. The gap comes down a bit, but Stewart and Yarborough clear off of turn 2. Larson now has Rudd up ahead. Didn't get held up as much as maybe he would have hoped, but there are still a few more lap cars up ahead, like Michael Waltrip. Next pit stops, let's start talking about that. Should be around lap 69. So in another 13 laps, 10 to 15 let's say. I've seen a few cars come in a little early. Cale Yarborough is licking his chops right now. He knows he has a faster car. If Stewart misses the block going he's just going to set sail, I think. Cale will set sail. Could be our first repeat winner and a back-to-back winner of that. Tony Stewart, meanwhile, was the first winner of this season. So you have our last winner and then our first winner of the season. We're running 1-2 at Indy. Second and fourth in points. And don't forget, double points are at stake. Jimmie Johnson runs fifth, so he's not running terrible, but at this rate, he is in jeopardy of losing the championship. Scale again. He's right there on Stewart. Does he make the move? He is pressuring so heavily. Here at turn 4, he gets sideways. Oh my gosh, what a race down the front straightaway. Cale's gonna look inside, but he knows the best line's gonna be up high. Michael Waltrip is slower. Cale's gonna get to the outside of Stewart in turns 1. Lap 60, new leader Cale Yarborough, and he's looking outside of Michael Waltrip in 2. Stewart will clear as well. New leader though. Huge moment. Lap 60. Watching it here for a while, just waiting for that pass to happen, and once Cale got there, he kept the pressure on, and Stewart had no chance. Can Stewart keep pace though? Maybe try to respond if he can get a run here off of 4. Larson behind. Got the gap down to 1.5 seconds. First and second now. Got a bit of a gap to Clint Boyer. Be the next car to go a lap down. Stewart looking high. He's entering really high now. Trying to make the same move that Cale did, but maybe a little too aggressive. Just doesn't have the tires left at this point in the run to make it work. And now there's something to think about as well with pit stops with Tony Stewart. Tony, his box is further down lane or down pit road than Cale. So if they pit together, he's gonna have to check up and basically wait for Cale to enter his box and lose time. You almost want to pit on a different lap. See, Tony Stewart, he's not letting Yarborough pull away. I think he might have a fast enough car to get back around. Seems like Larson's closing ever so slightly. Yeah, 55.3 last time for Larson. 55.4 is there. Yep, 2/10 in 2 laps. That's significant. Stewart, huge run on Cale. Oh my gosh, Cale Yarborough completely sideways now. by Stewart. He's just had no speed, and in fact, caused Tony Stewart to check up massively there. They lost a ton of the speed there off of 2. Kyle Larson's going to make this a 3-car battle. And just in time for our 3rd stop. Yeah, Larson's there. It's under a second for our top 3. Pulling up on Clint Boyer now. He's in 33rd. About to go a lap down. Pit stops should begin any lap now as well. Green flag all the way so far. First leg out of 4 races. And the Twin Checkered Challenge. A couple points on the line. Cale Yarborough took the lead just 5 laps ago. And is now looking to put a bit of a gap between himself and Tony Stewart if he can work the lap traffic appropriately. Good job there through 3 and 4. Gets about 2 car lengths. Kyle Larson has been inching in on this battle for the whole last 50 laps, I'd say. You know, Bobby Allison running all by himself in 4th. You know, a lot of cars praying for a caution. They can get back around, not necessarily on the lead lap, but got a lot of cars that are half a lap behind here that just want to have a chance to sniff the lead again. It's like you're in a different race entirely going that far back. Stewart very aggressive here. All over the rear bumper of Cale Yarborough. See if we can go on board the 20 machine. Here at turn 1. See him really just lifting and coasting behind Cale. Letting it ride. Now here comes a good run. Letting Cale know he's there. Trying to make him a little anxious, perhaps. But hard to rattle that 28 car. Both these guys running very similar speed. Oh, Larson's on pit lane, making an early stop. Out of the lap traffic. Could be a big call there. I mean, this could be what gets them moving around Stewart and Yarborough just with how slow these guys are going. Stewart almost made the move. Big checkup. I'm really interested now to see when does Cale, and then when does Tony Stewart pit? Because if you're Tony, I mean, you do not want to be in the same lap, at least in my opinion. You're going to lose time, and you're probably going to lose second place to Larson at least. Ever since Cale got around, he's just been slowing down Stewart, it seems. It's very surprising. Like, he wore his tires off going by. And Tony Stewart's just driving mad right now behind Cale. Still not seeing them looking low for pit lane yet. Oh, here we go. They are. Both coming in together. You can see how much it's going to affect Stewart. He's all over his rear bumper, too. He's about to spin him, it seems. There goes Gordon. He's staying out again. Harder for the course today. You see, Stewart gets hung up. We saw it coming. How much will this affect his exit? See a lot of checking up further back, too. Earnhardt and Pearson, like, practically stopped. Goes Cale. Tony out behind him. It's not even close, really. And Larson. You see Kyle Larson? He's here in turn 1, and he's going to pass them both. On the access road. I see Stewart down here. Stewart's already been passed. There's Cale. Coming off turn 2, and Larson is around for the lead. Lap 69. A nice lap for Kyle Larson. A nice pit stop. Puts him out front on lap 69, trying to get around Kyle Larson, or Chase Elliott, I mean, who is still coming in for his stop this time by, as is Terry Labonte. Cale Yarborough really losing out there, but Tony Stewart isn't even in the picture. Way back there, almost in the grasp of Bobby Allison now. Big turnaround for Tony Stewart. In the wrong direction. So, Kyle Larson back to the front. Cale Yarborough running P2. And you got Tony Stewart, Bobby Allison. Oops. Jeff Gordon is now 5th. So I do want to check with Jeff Gordon. Oh, he's exiting pit lane and has Richard Petty right to his outside. Looks like Richard trying to clear in 3. He'll get it. Close timing there. And you got Rusty and Jimmy. Mark Martin lost a bit of time on pit lane, and there's Dale Earnhardt rounding out the top 10. Kyle Busch trying to get there. Kyle Larson out of nowhere. Unbelievable. Larson was actually the winner at Watkins Glen, our 3rd race of the season. He's currently running 8th in points. Highest running car with 2 DNFs by a landslide. He had 2 DNFs just prior to last week. So, Chicagoland and iRacing Super Speedway just couldn't get it going. He was top 5 and now 8. This could potentially put him back into the top 5 with a win today. And the gap growing as Cale Yarborough actually having a bit of trouble with Harry Gant momentarily. There goes the inside now. Gap now just over a second to Kyle Larson. What a pit stop again for Kyle Larson. So he pit 2 laps ahead and now is leading by over a second. And in fact, 3.5 seconds over Tony Stewart. And he was behind going in by about 1 second. Just incredible work by that Hendrick team. Just nailed it. Up ahead is Jeff Burton. 1.3 ahead. He is currently 40th, but one lap down. About to go 2 laps down, but had the issue on pit road. It's really hampered his race. Well, it was already a bit off pace as it was, but it only made it worse. Richard Childress, 31. Then up ahead of Jeff Burton is actually Davey Allison, who's 30th overall. He's the last car in the lead lap. With 40 cars, that would be 3/4 of the field. Remains out front by about 1 second over Cale Yarbrough, who, once giving up the lead, has just about managed that gap. Tony Stewart and Bobby Allison now having it out for third. Bobby Allison's been marching towards the front, while Tony Stewart been slipping a little. Not sure that he's losing speed, but maybe confidence. He's just really frustrated in that 20 machine. Trying to get his rhythm back. Fortunately, he has plenty of time to get a group back together. Top 5, Kyle Larson, Cale Yarbrough, Tony Stewart, Bobby Allison, Jeff Gordon. See, Bobby definitely looks quicker here, especially through 3 and 4. Trying to maybe set him up for that outside move we've seen time and time again, just pressuring the car in front of you into turn entry and making the most on an exit. You really gotta be right on the rear bumper to make that happen. There we go. Might be able to do it here in turn 2, but we had to lift a bit too much. Staying in the draft. He is right there on the 20. Bobby Allison looking to make it work, but Stewart blocks it. You can see the defensive line that Stewart took there into turn entry. Let's go back to the front with Kyle Larson. Or actually, let's check here. Gordon and Richard Petty have got around the Jack Daniels car of Clint Boyer. And you got a little further back, that's Jimmie Johnson. Rusty Wallace closing in on him. Let's get back to the front here with Kyle Larson. This has got around Jeff Burton. Cale Yarbrough still just about a second back. Lap 78, 200, all green flags so far. Impressive from these drivers. Lots of track out there, so they've been able to keep it clean. Kyle Larson made the most of it. Let's take a look. 9th on the field and is up to first as of lap 69. It's been a great run for the Valley number 5. Here's a battle for third. Bobby Allison's going to make this work. Outside Tony Stewart. Put Bobby Allison up into P3. Big move there. Now can Bobby Allison close the gap? First and second. got completely sideways, which got Bobby Allison out of shape. And Bobby Allison's going to give the position back. Wow, the lead by Tony Stewart. He sent it in there. So look, you can either try to hold on or you might get wrecked. Fortunately, Stewart was able to keep it clean and make the pass. Despite how he just drove that. Harry Gant's watching his rear view, just thinking, do you guys want to get by or? Lots of lap traffic up ahead here for Kyle Larson. Let's see, Davey Allison, Chase Elliott, and Terry Labonte's ahead. At least 5 cars in this group. Pit stops maybe another 10 laps, 10 to 12 laps. Larson continuing to mow down these lap cars one at a time and not losing any time to second place. So we have 120 laps to go. We are 2/5 of the way down this event. Davey Allison on the high side. Easily done for Kyle Larson. Cale Yarbrough not losing a lot of ground in second, but unfortunately not getting as close as he was able to get with Tony Stewart on the last run. So Cale finally conquered the final boss of a video game. We're going to find out there's even another final boss in the post-credits or something. I can't believe this. Closing the gap a little, even after Larson got around. Got something going on, something brewing here. Stewart, Bobby Allison's keep an eye as they enter turn 3. Stewart just probably going to try to go the high side. But Harry Gant is holding that high line. And it's not allowing these guys to get by, but there we go. It's like Stewart has to win, and they'll get by into turn 1. That was Cale Yarbrough on the back of Davey Allison. Wide, and they're hitting each other. The third Bobby Allison gets by Tony Stewart. Oh my goodness. Tony Stewart's going to be rolling for that one. Ooh, Bobby, you better drive quick. Larson up ahead by 0.6 over Cale Yarbrough. No lap cars in between at the moment. All 40 cars left in this race to this point. And again, that being Jeff Burton, just had some troubles on pit lane. Cale Yarbrough He's there. Now he's looking again at the lead, so persistence paying off for the 28. He said he might need all 200 laps to get around Tony Stewart. Well, maybe we're thinking he's all 200 for the entire field, but seems they're all going to put at #1 spot currently. So on the high side of Chase Elliott. Make that work. And Cale's going to be fortunate with the timing here and close right in on Larson down the back straightaway as he's going to get his draft. I don't even have to worry about passing Chase Elliott. It is a 1/10 of a second gap into 3. Cale Yarborough looking for the lead even. Oh my goodness. Almost wrecked Larson in the short chute. That's so much more speed. You see down the front straightaway. There's the gap back to 3rd and 4th. Bobby Allison, Tony Stewart at the top of the screen. Bobby pulling away a bit after getting by the 20 car. So seems Tony Stewart might be having a bit of that long run fatigue that we've seen. Cale really trying to stick right to the rear bumper of Larson here. He does not want to let him get away. Larson will be pitting early. He has pit early every stop so far. I think we could see him on lap 88 would be my guess. Cale Yarborough. That is a lot of pressure on the rear bumper. Almost spins himself out. What was that there with Cale Yarborough? Let's go back and take a look here. To the rear. Just drifted up. He was going to hit the wall. And Larson now getting around both of these lap cars in one foul swoop. Going from bad to worse for Cale Yarborough's. The gap will grow. And looks like Tony Stewart even got by Bobby Allison again. Man. This guy thinking, are you kidding me? Cale trying to get the outside Terry Labonte down the front straightaway, and he will. See if I can find Tony Stewart here. Yeah. Oh my. And by a healthy margin. It's got to be driving him crazy. Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison. These guys are quick, but they are just seemingly being toyed with by the racing gods here today. So Larson, already +1 to my prediction when he would pit. So I have to say it's probably a guarantee. Probably. There he goes, going low. Cale Yarborough is going to inherit the lead here off of 4. That's a bit of a check. Dead even as Larson hits pit lane. So consider that. Kale now looking to maybe get a lap or two in open track, no dirty air anywhere. Can really focus on nailing these corners. So staying out, one more lap. So yeah, Bobby Allison, he's hitting down. That was it. Bobby Allison. Got 2 cars pit, Larson and Allison. Kelly Yarbrough gap back to Terry Labonte 1.2 to Bobby Labonte 1.3. And hitting pit lane. Where does he cycle out here? Take a look from the blimp camera if we can. Gets to the line perfectly. Now, where does this blend out with Larson? It's down the backstretch. Gordon stayed out. Tony Stewart's on pit lane. Hamlin and Bill Elliott also staying out. Larson, lots of draft off of Earnhardt Jr., who's off pace, waiting for his stop. And this is going to be extremely helpful for Larson, but gets a little held up off of one. There's Cale Yarbrough to the inside. So it looks like easily Larson will clear Cale. I'm interested also now to see where is Bobby Allison. He's around Tony Stewart. So big pass there. He, I know, was upset about losing the spot back again to Stewart. Well, Earl definitely helped him. Kyle Larson back out in front. Will be here in a moment as get by everyone else who is now on pit lane. And oh, Larson, big checkup, almost gets on the back of Ernie Irvin. Ken Schrader there as well. So Cale Yarbrough actually takes advantage and closes his gap a bit to Larson. It's still pretty significant, but any little bit helps. Continues to track down Kyle Larson after these recent pit stops. Has Dale Jarrett going a lap down. He's in 25th, so we have 24 cars on the lead lap. approaching halfway. Lap 94, about to hit lap 95. Been a great race so far. Lots of true straight up racing here in Indianapolis. Dale Jr. and Carl Edwards up ahead. Next car is to go a lap down. You see Cale Yarborough 1.1 back currently. The gap to Bobby Allison, 5 seconds from the lead. Tony Stewart, 6.5 seconds off. Richard Petty, 10 seconds. That's your top 5. Let's go back and find Richard real quick. See this here, we got Jeff Gordon running behind him in 6th. And a bit out of shot is Jimmie Johnson. Rusty Wallace also there in 8th. So 5th through 8th running about 3 seconds apart. Richard Petty just having a great run. Still trying to rectify his season after the terrible first race. Started behind the ball and has just been clawing back ever since. You know he's got a ability to be a top 10 in points, but currently sitting 14th. Has had some bad luck in some races that maybe he should have had a better finish or even won, but you don't see Richard being the one to complain. Just head down and on to the next race. Back up front, leader in heavy traffic, got around Carl Edwards, now Dale Jr. ahead. Cale Yarborough getting by Dale Jarrett, just out of screen there in the short chute. Cale doing whatever he can to stay in this race for the lead. No, he's got a fast car. He's led some laps. Now Larson now clear of this current lap traffic that Yarborough will now have to deal with and potentially lose a bit more time. You know, that pit entry that Larson had right in front of Cale Yarborough could have really affected Yarborough's in-lap. You look back on it, if he would have been able to stay full steam, I don't know, maybe Yarborough could have made it at least a bit of a close race at pit exit. Larson now here on lap 99. We're about to hit lap 100. About a minute or an hour 32 in the books. Been a great first half of this race. Off turn 4, about to hit lap 100, halfway through this 500-mile race at Indianapolis. And thank you everyone for tuning in here today. It's been an exciting one so far. Been able to avoid any accidents, which is always a great sign to have all 40 cars running. very competitively at that, too. We don't have really even any damage on any of these cars. First and second separated by 1 second. Then you go a bit further back. 4.5 off the lead is Bobby Allison. Pretty good run there in third. Teammates Yarbrough and Bobby Allison second and third. It's a good run for them. Getting halfway through this race. Plenty of time for anything to happen. But after Tony Stewart led about the first 50 laps, Cale Yarborough went on to lead about 10, and Kyle Larson has led the last 40. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart running in 4th place. Just gotta be frustrated here. Trying to get back to Bobby Allison. Fortunately, has a bit of a gap. Back to Gordon and Richard Petty, who are, if I'm not seeing this correctly, running side by side momentarily. Alright, here they are down the backstretch. Let's keep an eye on these guys with 100 laps to go. Richard Petty and Jeff Gordon going at it for 5th place. Background there, Jimmie Johnson, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt. That's your top 9. Oh, big checkup for Richard causes Gordon to get out of shape. Like Cale Yarborough might be cinching up the gap a little bit up front, but it's having to deal with the lap traffic, so maybe Larson had a bit of a moment. Pit stop still another 10 laps or so away, 10 to 15 laps. No concern there for any of these guys. But Cale Yarborough really having a hard time here with Carl Edwards and Earnhardt Jr. Wants to get to the outside. Looks like he'll at least get there on Edwards here through turns 3 and 4. Can make the move on Earnhardt Jr. And he will off of 4. So now it should hopefully bring Cale a little closer to Larson for Cale's sake. So they are now on the rear bumper of Martin Truex Jr. Ernie Irvan about to go a second lap down as well. So we'll go back to Gordon and Richard Petty. These guys going at it like crazy here. Really the closest battle on track for position. Still got 3.5 seconds up ahead to Tony Stewart. So they got some work to do. They want to get back in the hunt for the lead. 10 seconds off first. Probably going to need some help. Kyle Busch rounding out the top 10. Saw him entering the frame there in the back. Now Cale looking to close in. As Ernie Irvan goes low. Cale's got it down to half a second. Schrader. This will make the gap very tight for first and second. And Ernie does not put up a fight at all there. Actually comes back on the outside. As soon as I say it, almost as if I jinxed it. Making things difficult for Kelly Marble. Very interesting. See what Kale does here in turn one. Send a message here or not. Yarbrough gets by. Kyle Larson. Track temp up to 100. Air temp 71. Final stanza of this race, or final half of this race. The final stanza maybe a little later. But the gap between first and second has stayed about 1 second this entire time. And we've been green flag racing from the start. Even though we have all the cars spread out and maybe half the field close to a lap down. So it hasn't been due to any lack of incredible racing. In fact, Martin Truex and Keselowski, they're 22nd, 21st. 20th is about 20 seconds on the track. 20 seconds, yeah. You're ways away. Turn one, Larson solo in the lead by 0.2 of a second. Brad Keselowski in between him and Cale Yarbrough. Keselowski gets really sideways in the short chute. Almost opened the door for Cale, but instead slams the door. Now Cale goes high. He'll get a run off of 2. Close the gap on Larson. He'll be very close off of 4. This race is really heating up here in the final 100 laps. Bobby Allison only 3.2 back as well. He's starting to knock on the door. He's maybe parking the car and crossing the lawn at this point. Cale Yarbrough, though, he's there. Truex trying to keep himself on the lead lap, looking for a way by Ken Schrader. Meanwhile,